Imagine a single company so powerful it commanded its own armies, negotiated treaties with foreign nations, and shaped the course of global trade for centuries. Welcome to the story of the Dutch East India Company (VOC), a colossus that redefined commerce and laid the foundation for modern corporations. Welcome to Sands of History, where we unearth the tales that shaped our world. If you enjoy this deep dive into the past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more historical adventures. You can also support us financially through the links in the description to help keep these stories alive. Introduction: the birth of a global giant. In the early 17th century, the Dutch East India Company, or Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie (VOC), emerged as a revolutionary force in global trade. Founded in 1602 in the Netherlands, the VOC was not just a trading company but a state-backed enterprise granted unprecedented powers, including the ability to wage war, establish colonies, and govern territories. Often hailed as the world's first multinational corporation and the first to issue publicly traded stocks, the VOC's influence stretched from Europe to Asia, leaving an indelible mark on history. This article explores the VOC's origins, its meteoric rise, its innovative business practices, its darker legacy, and its eventual decline, offering a comprehensive look at the company that pioneered global capitalism. Origins: a nation's ambition. The VOC was born during the Dutch Golden Age, a period of immense prosperity for the Netherlands, driven by maritime innovation and trade. By the late 16th century, European powers were racing to secure direct access to the lucrative spice trade in Asia, particularly in the Indonesian archipelago known as the Spice Islands. Spices like nutmeg, cloves, and pepper were worth more than their weight in gold, spurring fierce competition among Portugal, Spain, England, and the Dutch. Before the VOC's formation, Dutch merchants operated through smaller, competing companies, which diluted their strength against larger European rivals. To consolidate their efforts, the Dutch government, under the leadership of the States General, granted a charter in 1602, merging these companies into a single entity, the VOC. This charter gave the company a monopoly on Dutch trade east of the Cape of Good Hope and west of the Strait of Magellan, along with extraordinary powers to build forts, establish colonies, and even declare war or peace. Israel, 1995. The VOC's structure was groundbreaking. It raised capital through shares sold to the public, making it the first company to allow widespread investment from ordinary citizens. This innovation democratized wealth creation and set a precedent for modern stock markets. By 1602, the VOC had raised 6.4 million guilders, equivalent to billions today, enabling it to fund massive fleets and ambitious ventures. Rise to power: the spice trade empire. The VOC's primary goal was to dominate the spice trade, and it pursued this with ruthless efficiency. The company established its headquarters in Batavia, modern-day Jakarta, in 1619, which became the hub of its Asian operations. From there, the VOC controlled key spice-producing regions including the Moluccas, Ceylon, Sri Lanka, and parts of India. Its fleet of heavily armed ships, known as East Indiamen, ensured dominance over trade routes and deterred competitors. One of the VOC's most significant achievements was its ability to bypass traditional intermediaries in the spice trade. By establishing direct relationships with local rulers and producers, the company secured lower prices and higher profits. For example, in the Moluccas, the VOC negotiated treaties with local sultans to monopolize nutmeg and clove production, often using coercion or military force to enforce compliance. Ricklefs, 2008. The VOC's business model was a marvel of efficiency for its time. It operated a network of trading posts or factories across Asia, from Japan to Persia, facilitating the exchange of goods like spices, silk, cotton, and porcelain. The company also pioneered the concept of intra-Asian trade, using profits from one region, for example selling Indian textiles in Indonesia, to fund purchases in another, for example, spices for Europe. This reduced reliance on European capital and maximized returns, Prakash 1998. By the mid-17th century, the VOC was a global powerhouse. It employed over 50,000 people, operated nearly 200 ships, and controlled vast territories. Its dividends, often exceeding 20% annually, made it a darling of investors and a symbol of Dutch economic might. De Vries van der Wood, 1997. Innovation. The blueprint for modern corporations. The VOC's significance extends beyond its wealth to its organizational innovations. It was the first company to issue shares tradable on a stock exchange, the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, established in 1602, creating a model for raising capital that persists today. Shareholders, known as participants, could buy or sell their stakes, providing liquidity and spreading risk across a broad investor base. Gelderblom Jonker, 2011. The company's governance structure was equally innovative. It was managed by a board of directors, the Heren en 17 gentlemen, representing major shareholders and the Dutch government. This board oversaw strategic decisions, while regional governors in Asia had significant autonomy to manage local operations. This decentralized structure allowed the VOC to adapt to diverse markets while maintaining centralized control, Adams 1996. The VOC also introduced sophisticated accounting practices, including double-entry bookkeeping, which ensured accurate tracking of profits and losses across its vast empire. Its use of contracts, insurance, and credit instruments further modernized global trade, setting standards for future corporations. The dark side. Exploitation and violence. While the VOC's achievements are undeniable, its legacy is tainted by exploitation and violence. To secure its monopolies, the company often resorted to brutal tactics. In the Banda Islands, for instance, the VOC waged a genocidal campaign in 1621 to suppress resistance from local nutmeg growers, killing or enslaving much of the population and replacing them with Dutch settlers and enslaved workers. Hanna, 1978. This pattern of coercion was repeated across VOC-controlled territories, where local populations were often subjected to forced labor, extortion, or displacement. The VOC's reliance on slavery was another dark chapter. It trafficked thousands of enslaved people from Africa, India, and Southeast Asia to work on plantations and in trading posts. Batavia became a major hub for the slave trade, with the VOC profiting from both the labor and the trade itself. Vink, 2003. Moreover, the company's aggressive expansionism led to conflicts with both local powers and European rivals. It fought wars against the Portuguese and English, as well as local kingdoms like Mataram in Java. While these conflicts often secured VOC dominance, they also drained resources and sowed resentment among local populations. Ricklefs, 2008. Decline. The fall of a titan. Despite its early success, the VOC began to falter by the late 17th century. Several factors contributed to its decline. First, corruption and mismanagement plagued the company. Employees often engaged in private trade, siphoning profits meant for shareholders. Second, the VOC faced increasing competition from the English East India Company, which adopted similar strategies but benefited from greater state support and a larger domestic market. Chaudhuri, 1978. Third, the VOC's heavy reliance on spices made it vulnerable to market fluctuations. As European demand for spices waned and new commodities like tea and coffee gained popularity, the company struggled to adapt. Additionally, its vast territorial commitments, including the costly maintenance of forts and armies, strained its finances. De Vries van der Wood, 1997. By the 18th century, the VOC was drowning in debt. It declared bankruptcy in 1799, and its assets were nationalized by the Dutch government. The company's dissolution marked the end of an era, but its innovations and global reach left a lasting legacy. Steensgaard, 1974. Legacy. Shaping the modern world, The VOC's influence endures in the structure of modern corporations, stock markets, and global trade networks. Its model of joint stock ownership and public investment paved the way for capitalism as we know it. However, its legacy is also a cautionary tale of unchecked corporate power, exploitation, and the human cost of profit-driven enterprises. The VOC's story reminds us that the pursuit of wealth can reshape societies, for better or worse. Its innovations revolutionized trade, but its reliance on violence and slavery highlights the ethical challenges of global commerce. As we navigate the complexities of modern corporations, the VOC offers valuable lessons about balancing profit with responsibility. Conclusion. A story worth sharing. The Dutch East India Company was more than a trading enterprise. It was a trailblazer that shaped the global economy and set the stage for the modern corporation. Its rise and fall offer a window into the ambitions, innovations, and moral complexities of the early modern world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the sands of history. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories from the past. You can also support us financially through the links in the description to